Now these days, whenever we're talking about hard games, trophy tubers typically talk about your typical games that you've all heard about, your Wolfensteins, your Hollow Knights, your Super Meat Boys, your Outlasts, and of course, your Cryptid and Necrodancers. But I never, and I mean never, hear anyone talking about the fun, yet infuriatingly difficult game that is The Binding of Isaac, which we're going to talk about today. Now, for those of you who don't know what Binding of Isaac is, The Binding of Isaac Rebirth is a roguelike indie game developed originally back in 2011 and remade in 2014 by the creator of everyone's favorite 10 out of 10 difficulty game, Super Meat Boy. Yeah, you can tell we're in for one hell of a treat with this game, can't you? Now, the game focuses on the character Isaac and his psychopath of a mother. Isaac's mother has gone crazy and seeks to sacrifice her son to prove her devotion to her god, believing him to be tainted by sin. Now, in Isaac's quest to survive and escape his mother, his only form of defense are his tears that he sheds as he tries to escape the woman that raised him and gave him all the fun toys, but then took them away, all at the behest of their god. Many dangerous foes await and want to stop him from being able to reach his mother and of course reaching his ultimate escape. Throughout the game, you'll find a lot of Isaac's toys and things that his mother took away in the form of power-ups, which will help you get stronger and your tears do more damage, and even transform those tears into stronger, deadlier versions that can synergize with each other, such as electric tears, bloody tears, and even laser beam tears. Who doesn't like some laser beams?
Don't be a pussy, laser my fucking tits. Oh god, it fucking hurts. Don't stop.
Now each of these will increase or decrease in damage, and some of these power-ups can even change your current health pool or your active stats in the game. Some of these items are also parts of sets. These unique sets unlock powerful transformations such as Guppy, Beelzebub, and Leviathan. For those of you who've played Binding of Isaac, some of those names will be very familiar. For the rest of you, you'll have no idea what the hell I'm talking about. There are a lot more transformations outside of those three. However, virtually all of them are locked behind the various DLCs that are available for the game, and in the basic version of Rebirth, the only two available to you are Guppy and Beelzebub. But let's face it, Guppy is overpowered if you can get the right synergy for it, so it's really all you need, if you can get lucky enough to get the items, that is. Now I think I have a little bit of explain to do to you guys. As the title likely suggests on this video, I don't believe I'm ever going to be able to platinum this game. And there's many reasons that I'm going to be going over in this video to explain as to why. If you've got this platinum, I bow down to your superiority as a gamer and a trophy hunter, as well as the level of patience that you must have inside of you to be able to get through this game. And if you've got the 100%, you're just a god. You just know you're a god. I don't even want to try compete with you at this point, but I digress. This game is gruelingly difficult. Now, from the gameplay that you're likely seeing on screen at the moment, a lot of it just looks like a fun time, and if you're just sitting back, just wanting to have a little bit of fun, this game can be great. And honestly, there's all the synergies and all the different items, you can have a great time and a lot of fun. But if you're a hunter and you've decided you want to conquer this game, this mountain, Mount Everest, got nothing on Binding of Isaac. That's a large mountain you're going to have to climb. And if you manage to get to the peak, guess what? You're probably going to fall right back down, because this game has defeated many a hunters. Many a hunters. And I'm not going to lie, it's getting close to defeating me. Now then, before we get into the meat and bones of this video, I think it's important to go over a few stats. I will of course be using PSNP, everyone's favourite site to hate, but also everyone's favourite site for trophy hunting, just to show you guys just how difficult this game is and overall where people are sitting with it right now. The platinum at the time of recording this is sitting at a 4% ultra rare platinum trophy. The 100%, including all the DLC, is at a 0.37% ultra rare. That is just insane. That's one of the rarest 100%s I've seen out there on the platform. Now, When I'm going into the guides here, I'm going to be saying about the DLCs as well. Just keep this in mind because the DLC I'm going to be mentioning a little bit later and why it's important, even though we're talking about the Platinum here. Now, the guide rating for The Binding of Isaac is a 9 out of 10 with 150 hours for the Plat only. Now, I would heavily argue that this is validly incorrect. I would say that this game is 100%, even without the DLC, a 10 out of 10 difficulty game and is one of the hardest Platinum trophies to obtain, especially if you're trying to obtain it vanilla without the DLC. But we'll come back to that later on.
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap. No bullshit, bro.
The Afterbirth Plus DLC is seated at an 8 out of 10 difficulty with around 50 hours, and the newly introduced, or at least the latest DLC, Repentance, is at a 9 out of 10 with 200 hours. There is also Afterbirth, but there's no guide out there at the moment for me to be able to give you the stats, but considering Afterbirth Plus is sitting at an 8 out of 10 with 50 hours, take it for what you will, it's likely sitting up there with those in high numbers. Now those are some crazy stats when you think about it. If every single guide plus the DLC is rating these games at a 9 or an 8 level, it just adds on to the reason of why I say this game realistically deserves a 10 out of 10 rating. But hopefully maybe you guys will agree with me by the time we get to the end of this video. And if you don't, you can let me know what you think in the comments section. I'm always up for a little bit of a debate. Just don't be toxic. Now, first of all, we're going to cover over some of the reasons why I believe this game is so difficult, and just in general why people around the world class this game as difficult if they're going for the trophies in it. The game is heavily RNG based, as you would expect with any roguelike game. There is a massive learning curve that you have to conquer. There's so many playable characters and items and upgrades and different ways that they can synergize, and characters that benefit from certain items but are at a disadvantage with other items. There's a lot to learn and a lot to try and remember, but luckily there is a very useful resource out there that I would say is essential to anyone that's going to be looking to get this Platinum or even attempt it, called Platinum God. If you look it up on Google, you'll find that it's linked to the Binding of Isaac dedicated website that has every single item in the game and each DLC that they belong to with their effects and how it changes between DLCs. This is your golden source for trying to learn things, because there's just far too many items in the game in general for you to try and remember yourself. Now, as like with any roguelike game, it's virtually impossible to plan out your runs or even set yourself some basic goals, such as reaching a certain boss within the game, completing a certain type of run, or reaching the elusive boss rush mode, which we will talk about a little bit later. But outside of that, your fate is completely and solely in the hands of RNG. I really hope you've been a good boy or girl this year and that you have not crossed any black cats, walked under any ladders, or stepped on any cracks, because if you have, don't attempt this game. As I mentioned earlier on about the DLC and how we'll be talking about it later, each DLC only further adds on to the complexity and the difficulty of the overall game experience, with new synergies to learn, new combinations to try and master, new items to try and remember, new upgrades to try and decipher, and new characters to try and master. Most importantly, one of the reasons why this game is so mind-gruelingly difficult is you need to have the patience of a god. It is so easy to lose your patience with this game and to get angry and to go into fits of rage. I don't consider myself one of those angry gamers, but I have lost my temper more times than I care to remember in the time that I've spent with this game. And back on the point of losing your temper and raging at this game, many a controller have been lost to the fate of this game. I haven't lost any controllers myself personally, but I've heard of many people who have yeeted controllers, smashed controllers, and even in some extreme cases, broken TVs over the anger-inducing rage that this game can introduce. Please, if you suffer from gamer rage of any sort, or you don't have patience, do not try this game. I beg of you, for the sake of your wallet and your equipment. Now, at this point of the video, you may be wondering what kind of structure is there in this video. I have kind of like whiplashed it a little bit to try and have my experiences and my stats towards the later part of the video. I will possibly have some timestamps in the comments or in the description of the video, just so that you guys have an idea of what section of the video you're in and what's coming up next. There's no real spoilers, but it just gives you an idea of what section we're coming up to. That being said, next thing we're going to be talking about is the characters within the game, and I'm specifically going to be sticking now in the future of this video talking solely about Rebirth, the base version of the game. DLCs will get mentioned later on, but I will let you know when that's going to happen. Now, I will be showing here on screen on the video each of the characters that I'm talking about, just to give a visual representation of the things I'm talking about here. So the first character we have in the game is the main protagonist himself, Isaac. Overall, his stats are pretty average all around, and he's the character that a lot of people will spend a lot of their time playing as to just try to get the fundamentals of the game done. Next up, we've got Magdalene. She is probably the healthiest character, starts off with the most hearts within the game, at least red hearts. There is a difference between the types of hearts, and we'll delve into that a little bit later, but she also starts out with a very useful item called Yum's Heart, which allows you to heal 1 full red heart if you have an empty container. You unlock her in the game by having a total of 7 red hearts at any one time during the run. You'll start to notice a little bit of a trend as I say how these characters are unlocked. They tend to sort of like line up with either the characteristics of this particular character or have some sort of linkage back to them, being that Magdalene has the most hearts, and to unlock her, you need to have a lot of hearts in a single run. The next character we have is Cain. He's slightly stronger, a little bit more than Isaac, and he starts off with 2 red hearts and is the overall fastest moving character in the base game. He starts off with the Lucky Foot item, which increases his overall luck stat by 1. Now, you may be wondering, why is luck important? Luck is very important within the game, as it affects whether or not when you go through a room and you defeat all the enemies, whether or not you will get something dropping. There is nothing worse than making your way through a really grueling area in the game, or being in a rather troublesome situation where you need some hearts, keys, or even a bit of money in the game, and you're just killing things and not getting a single item drop. Likely means that your luck stat is probably relatively low or even non-existent. You can unlock Cain by carrying a total of 55 coins on your person at a single time, a rather lucky thing to be able to do within a game, as you will be spending these coins quite a lot, unless you have a very particular item in the game called Money is Power. But I'm not going to be explaining a lot of items in this game. If you want to know about them, check out Platinum God. The next character we have up here is Judas, and he's arguably one of the strongest characters in the base version of the game. He has a single red heart available to him at the start, so you need to be careful when playing as him. But he also has a powerful held item called the Book of Belial, which increases the overall damage when used and increases the chances of devil rooms appearing. Angel and devil rooms are a very important tool in the game that can help you in your means to success. Angel rooms are free items that usually always boost your stats or offer you some form of protection. Devil rooms, however, you need to pay up in terms of hearts to be able to get the items, and some of the best items in the game are locked behind devil rooms, such as Brimstone, the ability to have a giant laser that reaches across the whole map instead of your tiers. It does massive damage, and if you ever get it, your run is all but secured unless you make a stupid mistake. To be able to unlock Judas, you need to be able to defeat one of the most challenging bosses in the game, and of course, it is Satan. The next character we have on here is known as either question mark, or to the community, Blue Baby. Arguably, he's one of the weakest characters in the overall game and in the base version of the game, outside of one ridiculously annoying character who we'll be talking about very soon. And I promise you, this is the bane of the game's existence. But I digress, back to Blue Baby. He starts out with 3 soul hearts, making it exceedingly difficult to get strong power-ups from angel rooms and devil rooms, as whenever you only have soul hearts, the requirement to get the devil room items is much more than when you would have had red hearts. Now, unless you get very lucky, you might be able to pick up some red hearts or items that give you red hearts in the game, almost mitigating this entire situation. You unlock Blue Baby by defeating the boss Mom's Heart a total of 10 times within the game. The next character we have up here is Eve, one of the most versatile characters in the entire game. High risks and high rewards are the way of the game with Eve. She starts out with 2 hearts, 2 red hearts to be specific, and 2 very useful add-on items. The Dead Bird, which when you're hit summons a bird familiar which will attack the enemies for you in that particular room, and also the Babylon item. I will not be using the full name as it could be offensive to some audiences. The Babylon item, when you have 1 red heart or less, gives you a permanent power boost in any room that you're in, making it an absolutely ideal situation to ensure devil rooms are used at any opportunity to make sure that your red hearts are either non-existent or that you only have 1, so that you have a permanent permanent buff going through the entire game as Eve, or if you manage to get the Babylon item for any other character in the game. She's unlocked by going through an entire 2 floors without picking up any hearts at all, because obviously you don't want red hearts when you're using her. Next up is Samson, the character with the highest overall shot speed stats and with 3 red hearts and the passive item Bloody Lust, which increases his damage every time he is hit up to 6 times per floor. This does reset every floor, so don't think that this is a permanent buff, and use this very, very seldomly and very, very carefully. He's unlocked by going through an entire 2 floors without taking a single point of damage. Now here comes one of my favorites, Azazel, one of the strongest characters in the overall game, including the DLCs. He starts out with 3 black hearts and has the passive ability of Flight, which is so useful for finding little areas to be protected, get some items that are out of reach, etc, etc. But also, he comes with the unique ability of having, instead of his tears, a miniature version of Brimstone. It's very short range, so you do have to take some precautions when you're trying to use this to make sure that you're not hit, but it does some serious damage, and overall, as I said with Brimstone earlier, it's one of the best upgrades in the game. So really, it's not a surprise that this character is one of the strongest in the game. You unlock him by making a total of 3 devil deals in a devil room in a single run. Lazarus is next up on our list, who is essentially a carbon copy of Isaac with slightly a little bit more range. He starts with a -1 in his luck, so he will be one of the most annoying characters you will have to play with in the Rebirth version of the game, meaning you're not likely to be getting very many drops until you manage to mitigate that or improve your luck stat overall. To unlock him, you need to have a total of 4 soul hearts on you at any single time in the game. I would love to say we're leaving the best to last, but unfortunately Eden is not the last character that we'll be looking at, but he is perhaps the most fun to play out of the entire game. Every single run is a different sort of challenge. He starts off with a random assortment of items that you have unlocked within the game. You can only use him by using tokens, which you'll earn from doing successful runs. Every single run is completely different. You'll have different stats, starting health, starting items, and everything is completely randomized. Some people use this to help them pick up items that they've unlocked within the game to make their overall completion status a little bit easier to achieve. You'll likely unlock Eden relatively early into your time with the game. All you need to do is get your first successful run up to chapter 4 against Mom. Once you've completed that, you will have unlocked Eden. Like I said when I was talking about Eden, he's not the last character in the game, but God, I wish he was.
I felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced. I fear something terrible has happened.
Now we're on to perhaps the most infuriating, most annoying, most anger-inducing character this game has to offer, at least in the base version, the Lost. Why do I sound so annoyed when I speak about the Lost, you may ask? He is perhaps the biggest platinum blocker for anyone using the base version of the game. Heck, even if you're using the DLC, he probably is also the thing that's blocking you from earning the platinum, and the most annoying and frustrating character to use. Why is that, you may ask? Well, as with any ghost, if you hit it once, it dies. You can't pick up any hearts, you can't pick up any life upgrades. Oh, sorry, correction. You can pick up life upgrades, but you won't get any life added on because someone thought that was a genius idea to keep in the game, being able to pick up lives and hearts even though you can't get them. Can you tell I'm very angry about this character? Anyway, calming myself down just a little bit. Now, the Lost does have some advantages. He comes with the passive ability of Flight, and as I mentioned when I was talking about Azazel, Flight is very useful in the game, especially when you can't get hit once without dying. Now, if you thought that this character was infuriating to use, just from the sound of my anger in my voice, guess what? If you're using the Rebirth version and not the DLCs, unlocking him is the most convoluted, annoyingly specific, and absolutely mind-boggling experiences that you will probably have when playing a goddamn video game. How's that, you may ask? Well, let me tell you. To unlock the Lost, you have 4 stages to complete. Stage number 1, you must use the character Isaac and die on chapter 1 against a Mully Boom enemy. Yes, you need to die very specific way ways on very specific levels to do this annoying thing of unlocking the most annoying character in the game. Step number 2. You must use the character Magdalene and die using your own bomb, but it must be at least on chapter 3. Stage 3. You must use the character of Judas, and you must die against the boss Mom. Yes, you need to get at least halfway through the goddamn game before dying. If you're killed by anything else other than her, it voids the requirements. And did I happen to mention you have to do these 4 steps in a row? You make one mistake, back to stage 1, and my God, did I go back to stage 1 more times than I would care to remember. Now, you may be wondering, what is stage 4? How bad could stage 4 be after these 3? It can't be that bad, right?
I've got a bad feeling about this.
Wrong. Stage 4 you need to use Azazel, and you need to die specifically against Satan. Where is Satan, you might ask? Essentially at the end of the goddamn game. You need to survive a whole run, and you need to play it perfectly. And if you die against anything that's not Satan, heck, even in Satan's room, and in the previous one in Mom's room, more enemies spawn. So you can get killed by something in the room that you're supposed to die against either Mom or Satan. And if you do, it's over. You have to do it all over again. Can you tell that this game drives me mentally insane when it comes to The Lost?
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you were here?
Now then, it's not completely all doom and gloom. There is some little minor pathetic lights at the end of the tunnel. In the basic version, like I said, you have to do these 4 requirements. And in the first 3 stages, you can input specific seeds to enable you to almost guarantee these results as long as you play efficiently. You can find these on the PSNP website in the guide section. If you don't use them, you're really a masochist, and I don't even respect you at this point if you're that much of a masochist. But stage 4, there's no seeds. No seeds at all. You have to play it vanilla. You have to hope to God that the items that you're gonna get are good enough to get you to the end of the game. However, you can do one very, very, very stupid thing to make the requirements of unlocking the Lost easier. What is that, you may ask? Install the DLC. If you install the DLC, you get to unlock him in a different manner. You get to find an item called the missing poster, which you'll unlock relatively early before you even attempt this, mind you, because you unlock the missing poster by defeating the Lamb, which is the boss after Satan. So I digress in the point that you will have this item already unlocked in the base version of the game before you attempt this. But the method I'm about to tell you, you can't use it in the main game. You can only use it when the DLC is installed, which is mind-boggling to me. But and you calm down a little bit. This game infuriates me quite a bit. Specifically The Lost. I've ranted about him for far too long in this video as it is. Long story short, there's a sacrificial chamber within the game which is likely shown on the screen right now, and with the missing poster, you need to stand on those spikes and sacrifice whatever character you're using to unlock the Lost. How easy is that? Why couldn't they give that to the rest of us? That would have been easy to patch into the base game. But no, we have to do It's Complicated. And believe it or not, that is literally what they call it. It's complicated. Now, moving on from talking about the characters, and most importantly, moving on from The Lost, before I get an aneurysm, we're going to talk about a little bit of the hellish grind associated with this game. Now, outside of doing your normal runs within the game, there is 3 different sections that you're going to be looking at overall. Items to be able to collect, secrets to be able to unlock, and challenges that you'll have to be able to complete. Now, looking at each of these respectively, the base game, or Rebirth as it's called, has a total of 341 items for you to be able to collect. You do need to collect all of these to get the platinum. I'll be talking a little bit more about that after this section, where I'm talking about some of the specific trophies to keep of note. The Afterbirth DLC adds on an additional 95 items to the total count. Afterbirth Plus adds on an additional 110. You're seeing a trend here, aren't you? Repentance adds on an additional 173 additional items, totaling to, if you are using the entire game with all of its DLC, a total of 719 items to unlock. Now you can tell the reason that I'm mentioning this is rather going to be important, and I will be talking about it very soon, but there's a reason why I'm talking about the DLC items in here. Now with the secrets, Rebirth has 178 secrets for you to be able to unlock. Afterbirth increases the overall count to 264. Afterbirth Plus increases this number to 403. And then Repentance increases the total count to 640 secrets. And finally, the challenges. Rebirth has a total of 20 challenges, all of them ranging of different difficulties. Some of them easy, some of them hard, some of them so hard you will probably pull your hair out trying to complete them. Each DLC, however, adds on more challenges, and they get progressively harder compared to the last ones to be able to complete. So if you're pulling your hair out over the base game ones, you can only imagine how difficult it gets at the end with Repentance. I haven't challenged these yet, and I'm dreading ever having to do it. Now Afterbirth increases the total count up to 30 challenges. Afterbirth Plus 35, and finally Repentance brings the total count of challenges to 45. Now as you would expect, there's trophies for completing specific runs within the game. Specifically, there is a trophy associated with defeating either the Heaven or Hell boss of Blue Baby and the Lamb. Every single character that I mentioned earlier on in the game has a trophy associated to defeating those bosses. There is also a set of trophies for each character being able to reach and complete the boss rush. Now, I mentioned boss rush earlier, but I didn't explain what it was to you. If you manage to defeat the boss Mom within 15 minutes of the game starting, you will unlock boss rush. You will be able to walk into a secret area that will have 4 items for you to be able to pick from, one of which you can take free of charge. As soon as you do this, however, the boss rush begins, and you get 2 bosses spawning every single round. Every time you defeat those 2, a new 2 will spawn, and this will continue until you've completed the boss rush. This gets progressively harder when you're on the DLC. It's still very difficult if you don't have a good build, and if your build is not strong enough and you don't have enough hearts, I wouldn't advise taking on a boss rush and just focus on continuing and completing your run. The trophies Basement, Splunker, Dark Baby, Mama's Baby, and Dead Baby are all trophies unlocked for completing chapters within the game without taking a single point of damage. And now we've reached perhaps 2 of the most difficult trophies in the game for you to keep in mind of: Platinum God and Real Platinum God. Platinum God involves you having to collect all the items within the game, watch all of the endings within the game, complete all of the challenges, and have unlocked all the secrets within the game, not including any items or unlocks associated with the Lost. What does Real Platinum God entail, you may ask? This is the true 100% for the base version of the game, closing out all gaps left behind by Platinum God. Any items and unlocks associated with the Lost, you will be unlocking here to be able to get this trophy. Why is this different, you may think? With the Lost, you are going to have experienced true hell. Considering every single run you do and every single boss in the game, at least mainline bosses, you need to defeat them on hard mode. Now then, we're finally at the promised section where I tell you why the DLC is so important and why I keep yammering on about it when I'm discussing about getting the platinum in this game. It is important, and you're about to find out why, and why those numbers earlier on were so important in terms of what the DLCs add on. And I'm making sure to be on camera, looking right at you when I say this, because I need you to take this message in really, really well. The DLC impacts the platinum. Those added on items that you get, those added on challenges that you get, those added on secrets, they lock out your trophies, your Platinum God and Real Platinum God trophies. Each DLC has a new 100 or 1000 or 10,000% or infinity% version of the trophy where you've unlocked all the new stuff in the DLC. If you install those DLCs, you truly hate yourself. Please don't do it, because you will have to essentially 100% the game to actually get your platinum. And no trophy hunter wants to go through that. This game is so difficult. The DLCs do make some things a little bit easier. Some runs with the Lost might be a little bit easier because there'll be more items that you can use in better ways to be able to hopefully complete the runs. But some of the new things that are added in, some of the new bosses, some of the runs that you're required to do are so difficult that they make the Lost look like a cakewalk. Don't do it to yourself. I beg of you to not do it to yourself. You don't want that on your conscience of knowing that you yourself locked you out of your platinum. And you may be thinking, can't I just uninstall the DLC? No. Some sources out there say you can, but back in the day, I tested this. and it doesn't work. I made a separate save on a separate account and tested out this whole theory. I installed the DLCs because I do own them all, but I just didn't install them. And I unlocked a couple of items. Then I uninstalled the DLCs and tried to go into the game. Doesn't matter, still registers the items. Some people have even said that it can corrupt your save, depending on how far you've went into the game. Don't do it. Don't install the DLCs unless you are prepared to go for this 100% before you get that platinum. You have been warned, and I can't give you any more warnings. I certainly don't want to touch the DLCs until I get the platinum. Even though, realistically, I am making my life so much more difficult than it needs to be, because doing some of the things I need for the platinum would be a lot easier under the conditions of the DLCs. And you're about to find out why I say that when I talk about, in this next section, where I'm currently sitting with the game and what my percentage is like. And honestly, if you just look here beside me, I've played 555 hours of this game. I'd like to think I know what I'm doing and what I'm saying when I talk to you guys. Now then, where am I sitting, you may ask? As I just showed you, I have nearly 600 hours of playtime within the game. My current platinum percentage, at the time of recording this video at least, is sitting at 77%. I have an overall percentage of 51% towards the 100%. I have 10 items left to unlock from the 341. These also include the lost-based items, 24 secrets from the original 264, and I've completed all of the challenges within the game, which, might I add, was a very grueling task, as there's two in particular that are really difficult. I won't mention them because their names are kind of a bit sensitive. I'm not going to mention them on a video. You'll know them when you see them. I have done nearly every character run in the game. I just recently completed the final runs of Blue Baby, including the boss rush. And all I've got left at this point is the Lost, who I have unfortunately unlocked at this point. It was very grueling to unlock this character, but I've done it. And the final thing which is eluding me in the game, there's two particular secrets that will be the bane of your existence again within this version of the game, and that are made easier, significantly easier might I add, in the DLC. These are Bandage Girl and Super Meat Boy. This game was obviously made by the creator of Super Meat Boy, so you knew that there was going to be a lot of references to their other games in here. In this game, there's certain bosses called the Horsemen of the Apocalypse. You know them, you love them, you come to hate them. We've got famine, we've got pestilence, we've got war, and we've got death. But this game decided to add in a little feature with these horsemen. Instead of having different unique items for them to drop when you defeat them, when you defeat them, they'll drop one of two items: a cube of meat or a ball of bandages. You must collect all 4 of these in a single run by defeating the 4 horsemen, and you will unlock Super Meat Boy and Bandage Girl. Now, why is this so difficult, you may ask? Well, as with any roguelike, you can't control what bosses are going to spawn, and in some of the floors, you'll only have one opportunity for a horseman to spawn, because you have static bosses of Mom and Mom's Heart, or Mom and It Lives, depending on how far you are in the game. So you'll only have one opportunity to be able to fight war and death. You can increase the odds of doing this by collecting an item called the Book of Revelation. When you use this on a floor, it increases your chances of spawning a horseman boss within that particular floor. However, even with this, you might get the unfortunate luck that I had, which is likely being shown on some footage on the screen right now, where you've went through and you have 3 stacks of your Meat Boy or 3 stacks of your Bandage Girl. You've defeated famine, pestilence, and war, and you're on the floor where death needs to spawn. Now, you may be wondering, why am I worried? Why am I panicking? If I've got the Book of Revelation and I've used it enough times, certainly I should be ensured to have a horseman. You're right, I am guaranteed to have a horseman, but the game decided to add in the Headless Horseman and an enemy called Conquest, who loves to spawn for me in particular every time I've nearly got my Meat Boy run. And yeah, the gist of the story is I still need to unlock Super Meat Boy. I got really lucky at one point and managed to get a successful Bandage Girl run, but I've never been able to get a successful Super Meat Boy run. I've gotten close so many times, but Conquest always appears to ruin my dreams of completion. If I ever manage to defeat the Lost, And that's going to take a lot out of me. It's going to take every little bit of willpower I have to conquer the Lost. Super Meat Boy might still be the thing that blocks me out of this platinum, which is ridiculous because I always say I'll never play the game. I even made a bet. I was on a run where I was doing really well. I had 3 out of 4 done, and I was sitting saying, and I recorded myself with witnesses saying, if this is the run that I get my Super Meat Boy unlocked, I will attempt a game I said I would never attempt. I will attempt to platinum the Super Meat Boy game. Yeah, I made that kind of promise on myself.
I need you to both pray for me. I just picked up my book of Revelations. I need you to fucking pray. Please. Please. Drop the meat. It dropped meat! Oh my god! There's a chance! There's a fucking chance! Oh god, there's a chance. There's a chance. It's pestilence. Yes, the 2nd level of meat. Come on, baby. Come on. Please. I just need war. War is the annoying one. He sometimes doesn't show up. There's my 2nd cube of meat. 2nd level of Meat Boy, come on. Yeah, I can see that smile on your face. You want to evolve from me? You want to go to your final form? Please tell me you want to go to your final form. Show me war, please. If you show me war game, and you show me death, and you give me this run, I may just even break my rule and attempt the platinum of Super Meat Boy. Something I said I would never do. I said I would never ever do that. If you give me this in this run, I might break that rule. Oh my god, it's war. It's war. It's war. I just need death. Please don't give me the fucking Headless Horseman. Please don't give me the Headless Horseman. Don't do this to me, game. You've put my hopes up so high. You've made me make a deal with the damn devil. You have made me make a deal with the damn devil. I never in my life thought I would ever say to I would make the deal of, if you give me this, I will attempt Super Meat Boy. I said I would never touch that game. And if you give me this now, if you give me it in this run, you'll make me break that damn word made to myself. Give me death. Please, death. Death, I need you to show. I need death, please. If death doesn't show, it's over. No, not conquest! It's happened to me again. I put Super Meat Boy Platinum on the line, god damn it! That's not Meat Boy. That's a fucking white pony. I thought this was gonna be the run. And once again, Binding of Isaac has put my highs up so high. My highs up so high, I can't even speak English anymore. Has put my hopes up so high, only to shatter them all. Fuck you, Isaac. Fuck you, RNG. And most importantly, fuck you, Meat Boy.
But of course it didn't happen, so I'm not doing that game. Hell no. I don't care what recordings that they kept of me saying that. It ain't happening. Now then, I've already said some of these excuses that I'm going to be bringing up in other parts of the video, but I'm going to elaborate on it. Why do I think I'm not going to be able to platinum this game? Why do I think I will not be able to conquer the Binding of Isaac? Honestly, just 2 things. The Lost and Super Meat Boy. I cannot elaborate or emphasize enough how difficult it is to get a successful Lost run. Getting through the Binding of Isaac fluidly without getting hit at all is a task on its own. But getting a good enough build and a good enough run of items to be able to successfully get through the entire game without getting hit, that's a feat on its own right. You do unlock an item later on in the game called the D4, which lets you re-roll the current items that you have, but this is a massive double-edged sword. You could have some items that are really good for your build, such as like brimstone, or items that like make your overall strength and tier damage a little bit higher, or it makes the frequency of your tiers a bit stronger, etc, etc. But you might also end up picking up some unfortunate items that kind of like mitigate your build a little bit, that might reduce your stats, or something like Monstro's lungs, for instance. It's a really annoying item to get in the game, where when you're playing, you have to keep the shoot button held down to charge up your attack and then let go. You need to do the same thing with Brimstone, but you don't need to do it nearly as long for Brimstone, and honestly, Brimstone murders everything it touches, bar bosses, unless you have enough damage, so it's almost worth it. But Monstro's lungs really just slows down the overall game for yourself, and if you're in a situation where you can't get hit, it's more of a crutch. That's probably going to get you killed. You're going to want to use the D4 to get rid of things like Monstro's lung or items that overall hinder your experience in the game. But this could also come at the cost of you losing some really useful items that could help your overall run. So it's always a decision of, do I take the chance to hopefully get some better items and maybe get a little bit stronger and get rid of these useless items, or do I continue on the run? It is worth mentioning that you can get bad items. You could reroll and get an even worse build than you had before, with even more hindrances added onto you. So it's a massive double-edged dice in this scenario. Getting through these runs, and to put context on this, currently at the time of recording this, I have negative 155 successful runs. I have died 155 times successfully in a row in terms of trying to do my lost runs.
You serious?
I don't know if I ever will get a successful lost run. There's a few times I've gotten close, and a few times I've gotten as far as Mom in the game, but that seems to be my crutch of where I always get defeated. Will that ever improve? Lord only knows.
Oh my god! My first successful run of the Lost! Yes! Oh, finally! Oh, nearly 400 losses in a row. But we got there. Our first full run win at the Lost. Yes! This feels fucking great.
If I do ever get this platinum, I will definitely do another video to just tell you all, and honestly just maybe give you some advice from my experience on if it's even worth attempting this. I already explained the difficulties around Meat Boy and how Conquest continues to be the bane of my existence whenever I'm trying to hunt for this. The one time when he doesn't show up, of course, I'll probably get Headless Horseman, but I digress. If I ever manage to conquer Meat Boy in the Lost, this platinum will be mine, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do it. Some people say I have the patience of a god, but honestly, this game has brought me down to some really low mental states more times than I care to count, especially when doing my Lost runs.
I did it! I did it! The Lost is done! Oh my god! Oh, it's done! It's done! It's done! The soul! Godhead! Oh my god! And you see this? Yes! Yes! It's done! It's done! There's hope! Oh god.
So honestly, think carefully before playing this game, because if you take your trophy hunting a little bit too seriously like I do sometimes, honestly, it's not worth it.
Let's put a smile on that face. And why so serious?
If you get this, it's probably going to be the crowning glory of your trophy list. And let me just add in here, I've met a couple of people in my time who've said that this game is easy. If you ever encounter people like that, you don't want those kind of people in your life. They are nothing but elitists. There is ways to exploit this game, and I'm not going to go into details on it, because if you exploit this game, you're cheating yourself. Because this could be the crowning glory of your trophy list, and your profile, and if you exploit it, you've done nothing but defiled it, and you've earned nothing. But again, if you meet anyone that says that this game's easy, they're just being elitists, because there's nothing easy about this game, even for people that like roguelikes. Now, as I mentioned earlier and kind of hinted towards, I've attempted this before in the past, and even installed the DLCs in the past, so you might be sitting thinking, outside of the fact that I mentioned about my alt account that I used for testing purposes, I did install the DLCs on my account at one point whenever I hadn't really been caring and hadn't known about the consequences of installing the DLC. How on earth is this video existing, and how on earth am I even making these complaints, and how did I get the chance to attempt this without the DLCs? You're about to find out, and honestly it's a moment that has haunted me for a very, very long time and taught me a very important lesson around always ensure that your saves are uploaded on the cloud. Watch this. Right, time to play some Binding of Isaac and continue my progress. Oh shit. Okay, prepare the database, given this crap happens.
A few moments later.
Right, database is repaired, time to play some Binding of Isaac. Where's my save? No. Where the fuck is my save? It's okay. There should be something on the cloud. Should be on the cloud. Just to check the cloud and everything will be okay, because I swear to God, if this happens to me. There's nothing on the fucking cloud! What has happened? Oh no, this database fucking thing has screwed me over. And I can't copy anything over. This has not saved anything. And it hasn't uploaded my data. I can't believe this. I cannot believe this. I cannot believe this. I cannot fucking believe this. All my progress is gone. I have to do it all again. I have to do Meat Boy again? I actually did Meat Boy. Oh my god. Oh no. No. Fuck this. I'm done. Now that was an extremely painful memory for me to relive and to rewatch. Obviously that's not genuine footage of what happened. I just reenacted it for the sake of you guys seeing the kind of pain I felt when this all happened. It is also the thing that taught me a very hard lesson, like I said, of making sure that my saves are backed up at all times. I tend to try and avoid it sometimes because I don't like auto pops and I don't want them on my list. I'm always afraid of like the auto saves causing problems there, as I've seen with some people that I know of in the community. But honestly, with games like this, it's worth the risk because you don't want that happening to you. Oh my god, I hadn't touched that game for years after that happened to me, and I'm back again. I rose from the ashes like the mighty phoenix and taken the fight back to Isaac. Now, you may all be sitting here thinking, I've heard some really dark stuff here. I've heard some very depressing stuff. And honestly, it seems like this game is beating the life out of you, Crimson. And you're right, this game is beating the ever-living crap out of me. And it's bringing me down to low times, and it is really messing with me when I have a really bad streak of losses. But will I let it defeat me?
Come on, Daph, I need you to spawn, please. Oh my god! Oh my god! He spawned! He spawned! He spawned! Super Meat Boy! Platinum God! Oh!
Hell no! I will take this fight to Isaac, and one of us will be left standing in the end. Isaac or me. And I aim to be the one left standing. Tune in when I finally have the platinum for Binding of Isaac. I hope I don't regret these words.
This is finally it. The D100. It is time for my platinum trophy. When I pick this up, the years of battle and strife against Isaac, the torments, the torture, it's done. Real Platinum God. And, last but not least, Platinum. Platinum number 200 is perhaps my proudest platinum. I'm gonna have to do another fucking video, aren't I? Because this video is supposed to be about me never earning this platinum. Shit. I did it, team. I did it. I conquered Isaac. I fought a very hard battle, very strenuous, very stressful, very mentally draining battle. But I won. And now I have to challenge the DLC. Yay!